right, we gave you guys an assignment a while ago. Was that a week ago? We gave you an assignment. We said, watch White Nanny Black Child. We're going to be speaking to someone very important in the making of this documentary, I want to call it, or film. But yeah, we have a lovely, lovely guest with us today. Please let our lovely listeners know who you are, sir.
Morning. My name's Andy Mundy Castle. I don't know how I can follow Diddy though, so I think we need to
You can never follow Diddy.
just take a moment to pause.
Yeah, that's why we have the little traditional
reflect.
music.
Let's have a
Because we let people know that, hey, this is different conversation now.
Yeah. No. My name's Andy Mundy Castle. I'm the founder of a company called Doc Hearts. We
Amazing.
make unscripted non-fiction films for everyone who'd pay us.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love. So before we get into our interview, we have a game that we play with all of our guests. It's a bit of general knowledge and this or that.
All right.
You have 1 minute to answer as many as you can.
Wow.
There is a scoreboard. And it will be over a 140 beat. So if you don't know any questions, just say pass.
Pass.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. That's all the instructions, right?
Yes. 1 minute? You said
Yeah,
1
you
minute?
got you got
Cool.
1 minute. Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay.
Oh, you get more points for right answers than the preference ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do my best.
All right.
Love that. Rooting for you. Brent, are you ready?
I am ready.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah, you start. Mark, start.
Want to start?
Want to start, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. We start in 3, 2, 1.
Directing or producing?
Producing.
What is the capital city of Japan?
Tokyo.
Who was the first black woman to become a billionaire?
Oprah Winfrey.
Past or future?
Future.
How many sides does the Pentagon have?
6.
A saddlery sells items for the use of what animal? A saddlery.
Horse.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
What is the largest desert in the world?
Sahara.
In what year was Rosa Parks arrested for refusing to get up off seat?
1958.
Smartphone or laptop?
Laptop.
Who painted The Last Supper?
Da Vinci.
What language has the most native speakers?
Let's just go with Nigeria.
Knowledge or power?
Power.
What are the first 2 letters of the word xylophone?
X and Y.
Who was the first black person to receive a PhD from Harvard?
First
Pass.
of all, you're out of order for that. You set him up. You were doing great. You're so cultured. So I feel like I think you actually might have the higher score. Who was it? It was Sace.
Sace, yeah. It's close. It's
Oh,
definitely
it's
close.
close.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I'll do the calculations in a minute.
Yes, please. That was really good actually.
I was trying.
No, you were in the zone. I love that.
He didn't pass any, did he?
You passed one. The last one. I don't know why Iman because you jumped.
No, because it was a repeated question.
Yeah, but there's
So that's why I
3
think-
other ones that weren't repeated.
It was a tricky one.
But yeah, can you please tell us about your film company? How did you get started with that?
I mean, since university, I've been an entrepreneur. So,
Nice.
I've kind of always been thinking about, and actually, by the way, I'm really impressed here. Like, this is the future of broadcasting. And it's really
Amen.
inspiring to see what I'm seeing right now, because I think when I started, this was kind of, this was well before my time, but it was always thinking about how I could just expand what I was doing with media, what I was doing with the stories that I wanted to tell.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've always been into documentary specifically. I'm quite fortunate that from the age of 16, despite kind of what was around me, I just locked into this thing. Like true stories, I just always felt there was some real power in telling people about true stories.
Yeah.
And somewhere deep inside of me, I knew that that's what I wanted to be, a creative business.
Nice.
And I went on my journey, studied, learned, set up a business that failed. I don't know if you remember the Apollo home entertainment chain, maybe a bit too early. There was Blockbusters, and then there was a sideline thing called Apollo, which was the biggest competitor to Blockbuster at the time.
I remember all that.
Yeah.
You remember them? Yeah, Friday nights, video store, that was the lick, internet cafe. 3 of these stores were going into administration in South London. I had a little bit of money saved up. And I thought, looks like a good business, because I could see the money that was coming through the doors, because I was working there part-time. But I didn't see Love Film and Netflix on the horizon. I wasn't smart enough to look at the future, even though I answered future, out of future or past. I wasn't savvy enough to see that, but I kind of knew that this was something I wanted to be in the creative industry, and I wanted to make a deal out of that. Made my way through television, broadcasting, and about 8 years ago set up Doc Hearts, which is my little baby. Been going from strength to strength.
Can you imagine?
I say a little baby.
Little, you know.
We're going from strength to strength and doing a lot of good things, so I'm proud.
That's nice. What did you study at uni?
Media studies. It's funny, I just wrote about this the other day because this coming back east side, if I can't give away the location, but I went to University.
Thank you very much.
University of East London, and it was I studied media studies at a time when the Labour government were telling us media studies was a pile of crap. I think actually that was the turn of Tony Blair just coming in. So it's I remember everybody, all the press, was saying that what's the point in media studies? But I thought there's clearly a point in understanding what the future holds and kind of the landscape of that. So, that's what I studied.
Do you remember what your first ever documentary was?
I do. The first one that I care to remember was a short film that I made called Question, which is why I'm quite impressed by this here, because it was partly black and white, and it was literally called Question, and it was questioning the colour, black and white, the colour and the interpretation we bring to black and white, and why certain things are associated to colour, and whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. Let's question it. So I looked at a lot of things in that, why is a witch black? Why is the cat black? Why do these things associate themselves to negativity? And why does everything white associate itself to positivity and angelic and spirituality? Yep. So it was really kind of just an interrogation of that.
That's really cool, actually.
Did you learn something new from your exploration, investigating that whilst filming?
I think every project I do, and every engagement I have, I'm learning something new all the time. So everything, I always look for the learning opportunity in something, and how can we then put that back into the work? That's always important for me.
Do you sometimes feel restricted in terms of what you can do because of who's, I guess, paying for that particular production?
I think for a large part of my career, I saw it through that lens.
Okay.
And then there was a point where I just said, no, we got, there's money to be made, there's things to be done. Yeah. And there's people out there who are going to be prepared to pay if the content is good, if the quality is up there, if the production speaks up, So it's, I never, I think it does sort of change your approach. And I don't want to give away the secret, but I always say get in the door and do what you want.
Okay, yeah.
But, kind of respect the playground.
Yeah, of course.
But kind of...
If people are paying you to make stuff, is it their ideas or yours?
It depends. Sometimes someone will say, we've got something and we know you're the one to execute it. So come in. So it's their idea. But more time than not, what I try and do with the company is originate ideas. So I sort of say because for me, the power is in the IP, it's in owning the IP, it's in being able to do something with that IP beyond its thing. So if someone's giving you that idea, more chances are you don't own it, So I try my best to originate the ideas. And often fortunately, I've got into a place where we do, we come up with the ideas and we own a lot of what we do.
What would, I guess, make you say, you know what, I hear your idea, I hear the things you want me to kind of do, but I've got to say no. What makes you say no to somebody?
Yeah. I find it hard. I find it hard to say no sometimes because I'm always trying to look for the possibility and I'm trying to build and So there will come a time where I have to say nope, can't do it. But right now I try my best to look at the possibility in everything and how can we make it work and say what we need to say through it. There are some things that are just totally out of the question. Yeah. Obviously, resources, financial resources, sort of play a part in that sometimes. Okay. We people just because the kind of level, the quality that I want to work at maybe won't be met by what somebody has, and then you've got to just sort of say, okay, that's not gonna work, but here's a possible way to do it. And then if something just isn't speaking to us, if it isn't speaking to me, we move on.
Okay.
Does their messaging and their intention behind what they want to put out, does that have to like tally up, or does it have to align, not tally up, does it have to align with your values and your morals and like your personal beliefs, would you say?
Yeah, like I wouldn't make a campaign video for Trump. Basically, no matter how much I was being paid. You know, so yeah, I suppose it does. But actually, and this might be slightly controversial, I wouldn't necessarily make a campaign video for Kemi Badenoch or
no, babe. You're in the right company.
Or Kamala.
You're in the right company.
But yeah, I think it definitely does have to sort of it definitely does have to speak to me, and it has to. Sometimes you look at something and you think, actually, we can use this opportunity to do something smart, and actually, because whenever I'm going into an idea, I think of the person who's least likely to consume my product.
Okay.
How do I speak to them?
Okay.
You know, like, how do I make this film connect with the person that doesn't care? Because the audience that you've got, or the audience that buy into your stuff, you know, they're already there.
Yeah.
They're loyal.
Yeah.
You know, they got you. Look at Tyler Perry. He's lived off of that. You know, in a great way. But how? And that's cool. You can keep that line, and you're going to make a load of money. But how do you convince people beyond what you can actually achieve? I think it's always a powerful thing to educate the people that aren't on your side.
That's a very tricky thing.
You basically said you wouldn't necessarily do a campaign video for either side, basically, right? Is that because you feel like you don't align with either one of them? Or is it because you feel like maybe it's not your place as a director to kind of use propaganda, potentially? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's tricky. I think politics right now, in the climate that we're in, I think that's more what skewed my perspective. I just think, I won't swear, but politics is just messed up. Yeah. It's just messed up. We're in systems around the world that are just like, I can see the beast. You could just see what's at play.
So even one of them hit you up now, say, look, man, there's an emergency. We need this campaign
Before
video yesterday. There's £2 million here
Before
for you.
It wraps up
now,
tonight.
Get this done. Like, make it happen.
What does it gain a man to earn the world?
Oh, but where's the horn?
So, you know, like, I'm not.
Hallelujah.
Money is my driver.
Hallelujah.
Genuinely. 2 mil, good 2 mil to not all money is good money. You know, I genuinely not, you know, I mean, 2 mil is a hard one to. But no, I don't know. I think I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it because I just think it's, you know, it's not all money's good money.
Yeah.
You'd be flying out, wouldn't you?
You mean?
Trump called you right now.
Immediately.
Could you imagine? To my bread, I'm not here for the next 5 days.
The truth is,
campaign with Trump.
the truth is, all money is the same. That's the truth. That's the actual truth. It's the root of evil. Money's bad.
Yeah.
It's been the same. So if I get more of it, I'll take it.
You've got a point there. But would you sell arms?
Firearms.
Yeah, no, would you sell arms? Would you sell arms to countries that are...
Pistachio.
He's like, yeah, last week. Oh, okay.
Well,
I just started thinking of War Dogs as well.
That film, I was speaking to someone about that last night. That film is dope.
Quality
That
film.
is dope.
That's what I say. If you got the opportunity to be an apprentice with one of them War Dogs and he put you on, you wouldn't do it. You say,
bruv, I wouldn't. I am. Yeah, I'm a bit clean.
I respect that.
That's
though.
good,
no
though.
way.
No, honestly, I respect that.
I'm not. I couldn't go into the triangle of the devil.
Nah, it makes sense.
I couldn't.
You got to stand for something, man.
Yeah.
Word, you fall for anything.
And I've had opportunities. That have been presented to me, and you know, thought, boy, how's that going to look reputationally, professionally? How's it going to affect my family?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've got a whole army of people behind me.
Word.
Yeah, no, I care about how things are going to look, but I would be like, how's it going to look?
Sorry.
Bangs.
No, because how it looks and just how it looks and how it looks sitting on 2 million.
For real.
The view's different. The view's
Ridiculous, you know.
Because I'm just looking at how it looks, but from the 2 million view, the perspective is
From my yacht.
different. So you have to take that into consideration.
Yeah.
Listen. Big up Andy, man. You actually...
Maga.
Go on.
Maga.
No.
It's already sold.
Yeah.
MAGA.
MAGA.
Don't do it.
MAGA skin.
You're just missing a red hat. That's just it. Just get the red hat. Good to go. Oh dear.
One of your notable works is what you did on Damien Donatello, right? No? Okay. I had a feeling. Okay.
Did I do something on that? No, I didn't.
Okay, cool. All right. So, in terms
This
of
might be a gate.
It is a gate. It is a gate. I've noted it as a gate.
They brought me in for no one.
Noted it as a gate.
that is so annoying.
Please get them
You'll
all.
never
Get
be
the
in the
rest
charges.
right.
Like, you've never been in the charges.
You know, if you're white, that would have been a problem.
Yeah.
Whoa, that would have been. We'd have to cut the cameras immediately.
Where's Chijike when you need him? You
Should have been on the front page of the Sun.
Leave Chijike alone.
I watched an interview where is it you said that you used to suffer from imposter syndrome.
Still do.
Still do.
Still do.
How come?
Still do.
With
You
so
know,
many accomplishments.
I suppose it's becoming less, but I think, you know, you're whenever you're in a space where you're sort of like putting things out to the world, you're always thinking, okay, is this good enough? I think it's kind of deep rooted, really. You know, I didn't grow up with great trappings. Do you know what I mean? So you're sort of constantly questioning yourself and thinking, okay, am I? And the industry that I'm in right now and that we're all in it's a fierce one. You know what I mean? It's proper dogged. So you walk into rooms and you're still sort of thinking, okay, how do I fit here? What self do I represent? How
And you want a BAFTA?
Yeah.
And you still feeling like that? Didn't that validate you?
Well, that's what I said. It's lessening now.
Okay.
You know, certain times I can walk in, I feel very confident. I am who I am. But yeah, it was definitely a bigger problem, sort of coming up. Yeah. Now, you know, now not so much. It's actually, to be honest, you're right. Yeah. Now I'm kind of like, I'm kind of stepping into
Does
myself.
that when that BAFTA change?
Does it change your market?
What it looks like for you? Does it change?
To any BAFTA voters out there, doesn't really change anything. It doesn't, you know, because for me, my journey is bigger than that, you know, but it's part of the journey. Awards are amazing. I will take them. But, you know, it's really about the work and the people that put the energy into those programs that for me is like recognition for them. Does it change things? I suppose it makes people listen a bit more.
Ain't that how you get presented?
Yeah.
That become not that your personality, but when people introduce you to people, they lead with that. Innit?
So people do, and they always tell me to do it, but I'm just not American like that. If I'm in the States, they're always like, you got to start with the BAFTA, you got to start with the RTS.
Americans are cold. I clocked
Listen,
that in
love
Clubhouse.
conversations
They
with
are
them.
cold.
I was in this room in Clubhouse, and they was doing like English and American people, and just saying people to like get the opportunities. Let's just network and stuff. You know, like it was lockdown, everybody was bored, whatever. Cool. The English people get up there,
Hey guys,
and they're just shy.
Yeah.
It's like what you're saying. They don't want to. They're
But
just
it's like
shy.
they
They're
wanna
just trying to humble.
Yeah,
They're not
you
trying to
gotta
big
be
themselves up.
humble, yeah.
The Americans move like they're the coldest. I
Listen.
sang, I danced, I produced, I act, I done this, I done that, I done recited, and they're proud and they're just selling themselves properly. I'm saying like this is why they get
is why-
this is why they get on. You know what I'm trying to say?
No word.
and then you hear them and they sound like Kermit the Frog. They're great sellers. They're great salespeople.
yeah,
like
they
the
are
amount
great
of
sellers.
Americans who've sold me pipe dreams, and then you get into the room and they're like, "What do we do now?" You know, so
What do we do
I'm
now?
more like let the work speak for itself. You know what I mean? Let the work really sort of champion itself. But I think there's a blend to be had as we move forward.
Yeah.
And we look at kind of ways of possibility and potential.
Imposter syndrome is so funny though, because it's like the people that you question whether you should be in the room with are also like everybody's doing the same. Of course, you might have the one person that's very overconfident, but for the most part, a lot of people in the room as well are also looking at you. They're looking at you like, oh my gosh, he's done this, he's done that. I don't compare to that, but you're looking at them like you've done this. Like I find this so interesting. So pre-BAFTA, how did you deal with that? Like what kept you? Yeah.
What kept me sane?
Yeah.
You know what? I think that it speaks being grounded and sort of kind of knowing where you're from is a really important thing, because in the business I've seen a lot of people lose themselves. Do you know what I mean? I've got a lot of friends who I think, boy, man, don't let them get you like that. Do you know what I mean? So and that's why I created my own company, really, so I didn't have to respond to anybody.
Oh, nice.
Do you know what I mean? Let me just respond to the tax man and the people that are on my back financially, but actually this messy scenario that you lot are in, and you're trying to engulf people into. That's why I say I'm inspired by this, because for me this is the future. You know what I mean? It really is. But you know, it's like when I look at the rubbish that goes on in sort of certain spaces, and how there's glass ceilings and, you know, the kind of structures, the politics of it, and where I come, you know, I grew up on Summerlate in Brixton Estate, you know, in Brixton, and I've seen bad boys, you know what I mean? I've seen bad man, you know what I mean? You lot ain't, you're not there. I mean, these people have to fight for survival, and they got to do things that they would rather not do just to make a way. And so all this, we got to get this, no. I'm not, you know what I mean? I can see beyond that. So I think, to your question, just having a sense of there is a world outside of what we're existing in here keeps me sort of just focused. You know, I take what I need and get out.
Are you religious?
Just not 2 million from Trump.
Are you religious?
I know this often annoys religious people, but I'm spiritual. I believe in a greater being. I believe in a greater power.
Nice.
But I don't subscribe to any doctrine.
Like any doctrine,
Yeah, because especially with what we're seeing going on in the world right now, there's a lot of stuff in the Holy Land in particular. Which it's almost like the Bible has written what we're seeing in front of us right now, and nothing ain't going in. You know what I mean? If there was ever a time for the second coming, I think it'd be now.
Oh, we passed it.
So, you know, it's I try, and you know, so many people who are close to me are religious, and I think there is an evolving journey that all of us have with faith, and
absolutely,
and the responsibility to whoever your creator is.
I can tell that keeps you grounded as well. From your response. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Would you then maybe turn down something that was based on religion?
No, do you know what? Funny enough, I've done a lot of religious content because of that. Like,
for
me, it's a constant sense of let's explore. Let's explore. Let's keep asking questions. You know, let's keep asking questions. Let's keep, you know, this this whole idea of Jesus being a white man. That's something that I've constantly, you know what I mean, explored in work in various ways, and sort of think about how you can really express that and really sort of talk about that, you know what I mean? Because, you know, you have many people who sort of indoctrinate you from a perspective of, you know, this is what my religious belief is, this is what my faith belief is. But, you know, like for Mormons, I'll always say, or even some Christians, like, you know, every slave ship had a pastor, had a priest on it. You know what I mean? And it's a real way of control. And so I just have to interrogate the origins. I'm always interrogating the origins of everything. Do you know what I mean? And it's not to say I don't believe what people may say to me, but I just feel it's important to question. Really important to question consistently. You know what I mean? Even if you are a believer.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Are you religious?
I'm a Christian.
Christian?
But it's funny because when I ask people if they're religious, I don't consider myself as a religious person. I'll say I'm someone who has faith. I feel like religion is just a bunch, it's rules and it's do's and don'ts, and I don't actually think that religion encaptures what faith is actually meant to be. And religion also has a lot of influence from society, from culture, from tradition. So whenever I say religious, it's just to like as an opener, if that makes sense. It's just if I say what, I could actually ask people what faith do you believe in, actually.
What's your faith?
Yeah, what's your faith, actually? Yeah, that's a better question, actually.
But
I'm Christian.
What are you, man?
Oh, we should have done him last. We should have done him last.
I'm influenced by a lot of different belief systems. Born and raised Christian, but heavily influenced by the teachings that come out of the Nation of Islam. And also...
He's a member to where heavily influenced.
yeah, of course.
You go there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Farrakhan.
You know what I'm saying? And also my cultural belief systems as well, like Ifa, which is part of like Yoruba.
Of course, I know.
So, all of that influences me. Yeah.
What, me?
I would love to know.
What me? He's looking at you.
I'm covered by the blood of Jesus.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
That's it. That's what that's for you.
Hey,
No,
listen,
you know what
man,
it is? Religion, I don't really like religion though, to be fair to you. For a lot of reasons everybody don't like it. I don't like a lot of religions. I don't really subscribe to any of them. I don't like the way I see faith and roles and stuff. I don't know whether it wouldn't align with like circle people's beliefs and traditional beliefs of religions and stuff. Like, do you get what I mean? So, because I have to question a lot of stuff. Like, do you get what I mean? I don't think, I believe anybody that follows their religion, and obviously not anything crazy, but I'm just saying the good ones anyway. Like, if you follow your religion properly, and if you follow your religion properly and you're upstanding citizen and your heart's clean, I think you're going to the other side, man. Honestly, and there's a lot of people that believe that that it's only their squad getting admission to the club. You know what I'm trying to say? And I just can't see that you've been living. I can't see that because the way you describe God and the way it's supposed to work, it's supposed to know and understand is better than that. And these people are good people, good God-fearing people. Fair enough, they might have made them wrong. You know what I'm trying to say? I think they all should come.
So in the club, we all fam.
You know what I'm trying to say? So there's certain things I just don't. And religion, people use religion to control people, like you're saying, slavery. Most of our wars are over religion. Yeah. There's just a lot with that just word, a lot of negative connotations that come with it that I don't like. But I am a spiritual person. I believe in faith. I believe my steps are ordained and stuff. I believe I'm here for a reason. Yeah. All these kind of stuff. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just
Sorry, quickly, what's going on with our mics?
Nothing. Don't worry.
Okay.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anytime anybody has any issues with the mics, just jump out of your stream and come back in. Everything's fine over on this end.
Lovely.
Question. When is it you present ideas and people haven't heard or seen it before? How do you tackle looking to change their minds?
That's a good question, because I think it's one of those things that has just become kind of robotic for me now. I'm just so if someone doesn't like an idea, how do I change them, or how do I make them believe that the idea is worth investing in? Yeah, sometimes you just know
before they don't believe it's possible.
Well, so it's a really good question, because that's why certain things take time. So the film that that's blown up this year, White Nanny Black Child, that took me 6 years just to get people kind of believing that it's a story worthwhile sort of investing in. Yeah, absolutely. Damn. And for various reasons. And sometimes I always say, you know when a lead is warm and when it's cold. When somebody just is shutting you down on the first possible outcome, like on the first gate, they're just like, oh no, yeah, we had that last week. And you're like, you didn't have this exact one. You know that just move on. That person doesn't want to engage with you in a really creative way. If someone says, oh, this is a really interesting territory, could you tell me a bit more? Then it's warm. So I suppose I start from that position of like reading their initial response. Do you know what I mean? Like if you present something to somebody and immediately they're like, okay, what's the possibility here? Then you can take them on a journey and say, this is all the work that I've done, this is the research that I found out. But if you know that it's cold, you're kind of like, this is just going to be a real hard gig, and should I waste my energy doing that? I always go back to talking to the audience that I don't initially go for. So I'm like, how will this connect with your core audience? So when I pitched this, when I pitched that particular film, I started saying, this isn't a black story. This isn't a Nigerian story. This is a British story. They are here because you were there. Yeah. You know what I mean? This is actually part of British history. So if we're telling this story, obviously, and then like I said, when you get it in the door, then you do what you need to do and win them a BAFTA. You know what I mean? So, I was fairly confident because it was a different story and the way I wanted to treat it, I kind of knew that it would do some great work beyond the expectation of people who were buying into it.
And how did the story come to you?
Various ways. I was kind of looking at West African migration. Okay. Because every year we know about Windrush. Love to all the Caribbeans and all my Jamaican brothers and sisters. But we know the Windrush story. We know the Caribbean migration story. What I heard very little of was how Africans go here. There's more Nigerians here than there is Caribbeans,
Yeah.
you know, and so I kind of wanted to investigate what that was. And I, you know, just a few friends, you know, like when you buy a car and then you think, oh, I'm the only one with this car and everyone's got, you know what I mean? A few friends started, one after the other, started saying, oh, you know, I was privately fostered. And I had, you know, some insight into it. And then I thought, there's something here, because most people from the community were fostered by white families. So immediately makes it, this is not something that just affects us. This is not just a niche story, as people would say. There's actually British people out there today who would have had a black child living with them 40 years ago and have no connection with that black child again.
Crazy, man.
You know, and so when we talk about where we are as a country and race relations and blah de blah, actually there was a time where people were welcomed in. You know, some not so welcome, you know, but at the same time, there would have been a lot of people around the home counties, up and down the country, who would have had a black child living with them. And you can't, you know, it's an erasure. You know, there's a constant erasure of history when people want to make out like there's problems.
Yeah, I found that very fascinating when they just said, like when there's a black child, you just put in a newspaper and a white family would just call them and be like, yeah, we'll have him. And then that's it.
That's how it worked.
Crazy.
That's how it worked. Yeah, I mean, and then you sort of think about like, you know, and this is interesting because it goes full circle back to money and kind of like the desire to work, because the majority of Nigerians coming here were economic migrants. So they weren't coming to just survive and help. You know what I mean? They were coming to work, study, play, do whatever. And in that sort of that life dilemma, they had to find a way to look after their children. And this was an affordable means of childcare. You know, give your child to a typically working class family in, you know, Essex or somewhere that, you know, wasn't Kensington. And then you went out there and tried to earn your crust. And most people would do well, go back to Nigeria and live the life they wanted to live. But at what cost? At what cost? Like, obviously back then, you know, the dream, and my mum's Nigerian, so her desire, you know, married to my father, who is British, you know, she always wanted to come to the UK. But he would say, you go to the UK, we ain't got the same life we've got here in Lagos. You know what I mean? And so, true enough, when they got to the UK, their relationship broke down. Yeah, you know, so it's I think there is this desire that the motherland is, you know, back then everybody saw Britain as there's a lot of shit going on, we're gonna go and make money, and you know, we'll have white people looking after our children. This would be a whole reverse psychology situation. But actually the pursuit of that dream led to a nightmare for some.
Is it just a case of like needs must, though? At the time, obviously we're living in a different place. Like, it weren't like some scheme to get rid of their kids. A lot of these people went and done what they had to do and then came back for them.
Certainly.
But
that's what it was.
I don't know if I'm wrong, but there was a couple of people that like they went back to Nigeria though. And left their kids here.
No, I'm saying there would be cases where that happened, of course. But I'm saying there's some people who actually like what you're saying. They never had no means. This was affordable. They had to do what they had to do. They went and got themselves right, and then came back. And obviously the kids still went through what they went through. But I'm saying it's like it weren't like.
I feel like on paper it's not the worst thing. But I think that, like everything, people take advantage of stuff. Because the culture in Nigeria is that it's a very community-based culture where when it comes to having children, you're not the only person that's having a child.
It's a village.
It's a village. Like, the village literally raises the children. Like, so those parents who left their kids here and then went back home, I just felt like, oh, that's horrible. Like, that's horrible.
But to your point, it was needs must. They obviously thought that, you know, their children were just going to be looked after by the village, but the village don't look like you.
Exactly.
So,
very different village,
you know, it takes a village to abandon a child as well as raise one.
And Chrissy says, I can't lie, the documentary was a mind F for me. I felt a roller coaster of emotions. Honestly, that was me as well. Like, it was very... When it comes to casting them, though, how did you do the casting? Because obviously the people whose stories we heard, they were very, very, very deep stories. Like, very touching, very deep stories. Did you have more people? Were they the only people that you reached out to? Because how do you determine whose story makes the cut?
That's really tricky. That's really tricky because remember, this happened over 4 decades. So there was, you know, over you know, there was over 60,000, 70,000 people who would have endured this practice, right? So there's a load of people out there. We had about 150 people come forward. Wow. You know, so across the period, you know, obviously because we were starting with our process, some people would drop off, some people were just too good to not take goals. But when we looked at it, what I wanted to do was, what I really wanted to do was have an array. Yeah. You know, I really wanted everybody in that film to speak represent to an aspect of, you know, the process. So be it someone who left their family and never went back, be it someone who was left in the home and abandoned, be it someone who had a loving experience.
Yes, that was
you
very
know what I mean? Be it someone who had a loving experience, someone who still connects with their private foster family today and they see them
as their parents.
And you know, that I thought that was important too. It was important for me to have siblings, so two people that had the same experience. Is that me? And then it was, you know, so I just really wanted to say, like, these experiences affected many people. You know what I mean? And I think that was tricky in itself because you don't typically have 9 characters in any film. That you're trying to focus on all of them. So yeah, it was just important to have an array of stories that just reflected like a large breadth of people that would have experienced.
And you did that very fostering. Well. You did that very, very well. Like just diverse, and I think also that the things that were touched on there, when it comes to like identity, it was everything that makes up our cultural identity. Do you know what I mean? From hair to the arts and like to languages, and it was very, very well done.
Big up to the team, really. You know, I had a really great team of people around me who were making sure we stayed on point.
Yeah, see, I was even going to ask about the team, like in terms of like how you were able to create like a safe and supportive environment for people to really be open to share something that affected probably the biggest impact on their lives. You know what I'm saying? And what were some of the challenging things about that? Like, did you ever have to stop filming? Did you have to?
Yeah, I mean, like one of our participants, God rest his soul, passed away. Wow. So that stopped everything. Wow. You know, it was the rapper Ty. You know, Ben Chijoki, you know, he was one of the first people who was coming on that journey with us.
So he
would have been in the film. I've got footage with him that won't ever see the light of day, you know, so we started that process. But you know, I think the challenge with making anything that's based on real life and true stories is that you have to deal with reality. Do you know what I mean? And that's how you navigate things. You know, and then we just made sure we were we packed the whole thing with therapists. So I had like 4 therapists working round the clock. When I say you know, they were just available to the people that were in the show. You know, and so we made sure that we looked after them. You know, and to this day, most of them I'm still in touch with. I mean, everybody I'm still in touch with.
Because I was going to ask you, like, what sort of, do you feel some sort of responsibility in terms of making sure you're depicting a particular thing that's accurate and they are fully comfortable with as well? Like, how do you navigate that? Because you may say to yourself, correct me if I'm wrong, but you may say, okay, cool, this is my vision. I want to make sure this is seen through this particular lens. But they may not necessarily be comfortable with that. So you show them the film afterwards and say, okay, cool, if you guys don't sign this off, I don't release it, or does it work?
So it's a really difficult thing when you are taking money from somebody and then you have to also kind of critically make something make sense to the person you're talking about. You know, because often the two don't align. Someone's saying like, yeah, we want this product because it's going to do X. And that person, you've got to look after the fact that they're honoring you to tell their story. But I personally always make a thing of, like, if I've made a film with you, you've got to be happy. Because that's you that you live with that. You know, so everybody saw the film after I'd finished it, and they were influential in sort of how they wanted. You know, if there was something wrong, I'd hear them. You know, if they felt they weren't accurately represented, I would hear them. You know, so yeah, I'm constantly doing that. I just had a screening last night for my next film actually, and we made sure that people are happy.
So I've got to ask you, because just when I was watching, I was like, okay, you know, in the moment where in the circle where everyone introduces themselves to each other, and that woman tells the very traumatic things that happened to her as a child and stuff, and then the guy got up and started drumming. What was the vibe check for that? Because I thought he was getting up to like get a tissue or something. Then he started drumming, so I didn't know it was because I didn't see anything that let me know that he was like a
drummer.
A drummer.
No. Okay, in the moment. So that basically, he is a drummer.
Okay, yeah.
And he does deal with the djembe, and he had it anyway. And I just told everybody, like to your question, I just said, bring whatever makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
However it makes you feel comfortable. Whatever you feel like you need to share in this space, bring it. And he had that djembe the whole time. And it was just, to be honest, in the moment, it was magical.
Okay.
Because
I
I felt like,
there.
no, because we all like, and it's difficult to obviously, because obviously that
moment,
that day
anyway.
is filmed over 8 hours.
Oh, wow, okay.
So you're only seeing 10 minutes of an 8-hour day.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, so it's like...
Fair.
Yeah, so like what happened in the room will always be in that space.
Yeah.
And it was literally like we could have gone 500 years back under the African sun, underneath a tree. That was what was happening.
It was given that.
Yeah, that's what was happening.
Because obviously as it kept drumming, I was there. I was there with everybody. But initially when it got up, and I thought I was going to get a pack of tissues. Then I just heard the beats. I said, I know you fucking lying.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
No. But it was a real sort of warm and magical space. Yeah. I actually, you know, it's funny because that happened very early on because obviously that was the introductions.
Oh, yeah.
And so you think about it, in my head, I designed this 5 years ago. Never knew that would happen in that way. Do you know what I mean? But it then that's when you know you're got lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
Because what you imagined became real. You know, and I knew that something like that would happen. I just didn't know how or when.
The lady that was facilitating, because it kind of was like a retreat.
Yeah.
So the lady that was facilitating it, was she part of the cast, or was this someone that, after hearing the stories, you needed to facilitate this conversation they were going to have?
No, so I always knew I needed a facilitator.
Yeah.
And then I casted for that as well. You know, we saw about 15
Oh, wow, okay.
facilitators. And basically, the reason I went with Abby Osho is that she had experienced it herself.
Yeah, I thought that was so interesting. And
But she then was, her role, her job is facilitating retreats.
Okay. Oh,
And,
wow.
you know, from a therapeutic sort of space and a wellness kind of space. And then Michael Henry, who was her co-pilot, he was a therapist anyway.
Okay.
He was a psychodynamic therapist and had kind of worked with many different techniques to help people kind of come out with experiences.
Yeah.
You know, so he was instrumental in kind of shaping the way we did that.
Because I really like that, because sometimes when you have films like that talks about very deep things, like obviously it's classed as entertainment, right? But it's people's real lives. And I think sometimes you don't see, obviously there might be some kind of level of care that's taken outside of that, but it's not always brought in front of the camera. And I just found that I really, really liked that, because what they were showing was so deep and so personal to them. And the things that we go through as kids really molds us into adults, how much more these people. So I just found that very commendable, that you could see on camera the level of care that they were being taken care of, and just being cared for in that way whilst they were sharing these very, very vulnerable things about themselves. It was,
I mean, we call that in the industry or in documentary breaking the fourth wall. So you're kind of showing the process.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I'm always looking at how do I just bend form?
Yeah.
How do we do something that's different?
Yeah.
How do we change things?
Yeah.
Because that's what, you know, fortunately over the last 3 years, I've judged a lot of awards. So I was seeing what was good.
Yeah.
And I see, you know, you can always tell if you have 10 products, 7 of them are probably going to be very similar.
Yeah.
2 daring, 1 outstanding and different.
Yeah.
You know, and that one that is different is the one that just looks around the corner in a way nobody else is doing.
Yeah.
You know, and so that was kind of that went into the thinking.
I hope more people kind of follow your lead on that, because whenever I watch that true life stuff, I can never just separate myself from what it is I'm an empath, but I can never just separate myself from what I've just heard this person share about their real life. So I always end up like just going online and trying to look them up, and like almost like a okay, you're good now kind of thing. Like
Make sure.
like you're good. Like, even like when I watch something like Divorce Court, it's just people coming about that, you know, their marriages and whatever. But there's a few characters who say certain things that is just traumatic and just so sad that I will always go and like try and look for their Instagram, and I'm like, you look like you're doing better. So I feel like that is very, very important to have done.
Yeah, you know, I've caught up with most of the people that were in the film, and they all seem to be, you know, they have got enriched positions now. Yeah. So,
because I was going to ask you, like, obviously, like you mentioned before, you always kind of take something away from every film that you make. But did the people within the film take away something new, hearing other people's perspectives? Maybe, Yeah,
I believe they did, because everybody was telling something, like, you know, one thing that was very recurring, and even like afterwards when I've shown it to other people who have the same experience, is that they always thought they were alone.
This is it.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about it, if you lived in a foster home as that one child, you'll live your whole life surrounded by white people. You don't know that there's a whole tribe of people who are just like you. And I think that each of them, you know, had something different to offer and something different to take away. So yeah, no, it was a full-blooded experience, really.
I guess I'm not asking you, I guess, with this next question to judge your perspective on farming as a whole, but did you step back and look at everyone and say to yourself, farming is X, Y, and Z?
I think back to what you said, it was a needs must thing. Like, you know, I sympathize with the decisions that had to be made in the pursuit of a dream. Do you know what I mean? I think that's essentially what's at the root of it. Sometimes you will forfeit so much because you think you're on the right path, but you don't really know who you're hurting in the process until that person's hurt. Until many years later, that person can, you know, kind of have the vocabulary, the vernacular to sort of tell you, this is how I felt as a result of your actions. And what you do with that is what you do with it. But, you know, many people are walking around wounded and in need of healing, and you can't quite put your finger on it. And it often just goes back to something that happened in childhood.
It was very commendable, though, how even with the people that shared their stories, that some of them didn't hold it against their parents like that. It's just like they came to understand why it was that they had to do that, and it's sad. It was sad, man.
Yeah, I hoped it kind of also had some hope. You know, it kind of I was you know what I wanted to do is say that, you know, and I suppose that was one of the decisions as to why this had to be a film that incorporated healing, because as you say, they were inherently sad stories. But actually, it was important for me to say, also talking to our audience, is like, actually, we need to heal. People need to heal.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like there's a whole load of people who have a certain idea of who they are, ego, what have you, but actually they're broken. You know what I mean? Many of us are. You know what I mean? And I wanted to say, I mean, the idea is actually a bigger format. So I actually think that space could be for anybody. So anybody who shared the same experience. So back to like how you come up with ideas or how you think about things. Like for me, I'm always thinking about a bigger IP. How can we use something to say something much bigger and grow?
In this context, what's most important to you, culture or love?
Sorry, say that again.
In this context, what is most important to you, culture or love?
Love wins every time.
We answered this. No, actually, you said
love
culture.
wins every time.
What do you say, Marks?
Culture.
Yeah, and then Brent and I said love.
Emmanuel, why culture?
To be fair, like I said to you earlier, I feel like you never get a situation where the two are kind of exclusive, right? And in such a situation, I'll always choose culture. In this situation, though, it is tough because I remember, and this is why I knew that was the thing you picked up on, Brent, because when I was watching, I was thinking, my goodness, what would I choose in the same situation? And I do think, and it's pretty much based off of the one lady in the film who basically had that question. And this is why I asked you about the whole thing about Do you ever look, but like, did you ever look at them and say to yourself, farming is X, Y, and Z because of her? She seemed so educated, so things seemed right. Not to say her life was perfect.
Yeah.
Is it the lady that
with the glasses?
Glasses, yeah.
Oh, you see at the end when she talked about her dad?
Yeah.
Oh, I cried and I was about to go to the gym.
Like things just seemed like
so sweet, yeah.
as good as they could be.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And because of her, it made me think, you know what, maybe love would be better. Because I don't look at her and think she's less of a Nigerian woman. So in some way I'll still have my culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I could choose culture and perhaps not have the love that's necessary for me to navigate life. You know what I mean? It's really a tough one.
Yeah, it's interesting, actually. I think just bringing it into current affairs, you look at someone like, and I hate to bring her name into this space, we're talking about something important, but Kemi Badenoch, right? And, you know, the conversation around, is this good for Black Britain?
Yeah.
Is this good for Nigerians? Is it good for whatever? You look at, it's that's like, for me, it's like there is the kind of polarity of love and culture, because British culture is what she's chosen, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But inherently, like, the love she would have felt from a different place would have been Nigerian. But actually that kind of wasn't working for her, because everything that she said or the way she talks about the Nigerian community, you'd think, well, this woman don't want to go and eat no pounded yam. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Not one jollof rice, mate.
She ain't had none. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting dynamic when you think about.
What are you saying? She would have got more love from Nigerians but she's wanted to go with British culture.
I suppose what it is for me is that it's an endorsement of British culture in a way that, look, we're here, right? I get that. But she was born, raised in
Nigeria.
Or was she?
I think for the first 16 years.
For the first 16 years, yeah.
I get where you're coming from. What I'm trying to say is, then if she embraced that culture, she would get the love that you're saying she's not getting from them. So ain't the culture more important first then? Because you get the love that you're saying she's missing if she embraced the culture. You're saying she's not getting the love from the Nigerians because she's embracing British culture. If she embraced Nigerian culture, then she would get that love that you're speaking about from them.
But I don't think it's just even, I think the way I'm interpreting what you're saying.
You make a good point.
That's what I'm thinking.
But I think the way I've interpreted what you're saying, though, is I don't even think it's even like a Nigerian culture thing. It's just a Black culture thing. I feel like she would have, because it is iconic that she is the first Black party leader, then the first Black female party leader. That's absolutely iconic. But she's chosen a British culture that looks down on her people. So the love that you would have experienced from that,
So that is kind of what I'm saying. And then when I think about it with regards to what you've just said, actually, it's a very different concept anyway, because I think the love you get for your mom or the, you know what I mean? It is two different things. So it's a stupid point for me to raise. Sorry.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not at all, because that's what we were talking about yesterday. And Emmanuel actually, I don't think he even agrees with what Marx was saying. We were talking about two different things. But he likes the fact that Kemi, even though she is now the leader of a racist party,
historically overt racist party.
Still, in
you said overt. Do you know what overt means?
And the multicultural party.
Racist.
Yeah, and I'm saying that to say the other side is covert with it.
Yeah, okay, yes, because I was about to say,
I'll
actually,
take
for
a
me,
covert over overt, child.
Right now, the Labour Party look more dangerous than the Conservatives.
Talk to me.
Andy.
What does
There
that
you
mean?
go.
Oh, yeah, well, when's breakfast?
First of all,
Where's breakfast? No, I don't know. I just think it's funny. I said to someone yesterday, I think that, I get myself in hot water for this, but I think, you know, the Labour Party are like white middle class Britain. They just want people of other cultures to be at arm's length and say, we are helping you guys, but just chill over there. Things are going to be all right, but we're just going to mess up the whole system.
Yep.
Whereas the Tories are like, can you make us money? Is this what the future wants? Can we make it work? Is there an economic reason why this is possible? Come on, you're in. You know, and I now so I look at the two, I look at, for me, because of what I deal with on a daily basis, it's that middle management, middle white class Britain who just basically will say one thing to your face and behind closed doors, you're a whole different person. Yeah. Whereas a Tory will tell you,
facts.
Look, Brownie, I don't like you, but we're gonna make this work. You know what I mean? And so it's
And I've been saying this for 2 years.
Wait. This is interesting, right? Because historically, that's what they're supposed to be, right? They're
Historically,
just supposed to focus on economics.
Yeah.
But of late, what have they been doing?
focusing on a racial agenda.
That's all they've been doing, right? Stalking up that particular. That's what the entire Boris campaign was about. Brexit was exactly about that.
Yeah, I know, but and obviously this, because obviously people like Kemi Badenoch and Priti Patel and all that, you people like from their own cultures will call them like enemies basically or whatever. But representation is important and the diversity. So even though they might not be the right kind of black and brown people, they are there at the forefront of it. The diversity in that party is something to speak on.
Yeah,
You know what I'm trying to say?
They've done it more so than the Labours have.
It's true though.
Labour ain't had nobody at the top table. Even you look at the cabinet now, it's just white people.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. I mean, other than Mr. Lammy, but I mean,
You might find an ally.
Sorry. Finish that sentence.
I'm not saying
Don't
anything.
say
I'm right. It's the same argument we're making for Kemi, but she's now in a more dangerous position.
Well, no, Lammy's the second most powerful person in the country.
100%.
Currently.
Currently.
100%, and you stopped before finishing.
Well,
now,
there's
the same concerns we have with Lammy is why it is that we have that same
Concerns with Kemi.
With Kemi.
Oh, yeah,
but
absolutely.
she will be in a more powerful position if it is
That they
she
win.
now- precisely.
And that's I suppose we've got 4 years to pontificate. You know, but Lammy right now isn't. I mean, he doesn't represent the black community, and I mean, but then you think about politics, and you know, we're in Britain. You know, at the end of the day,
That's what it comes down to.
he's got to represent the population.
Yeah,
You know, so.
That's interesting, Max. I would have loved for you to be here yesterday because a lot of people were against what Emmanuel was saying, and it sounds as though you would have been on his side.
I've seen this conversation about Kemi Badenoch happening, and I'm not 100% sure where I stand in it. So I would love to try and unpack it and do it in real time to see how I feel, because there is something to be said for, like, this is a good thing in a sense, like for black people. Like, do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, so yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because like you see the last 4 years, because of the brown and black folk who have been stoking up divisions of hate, you've had a real push from the far right. You know, because that's for me, I mean, obviously we can't qualify this, but you know, it largely feels like actually, well, you know, Suella's saying it's cool, Priti saying it's cool, you know, Rishi's supporting us, so we could do what we like. You lot get back on those banana boats. You know, just go back now.
Go back, boy.
You know, so it's like, well, actually, there is an endorsement which is dangerous, but again, like I said with Harris and Trump, is that the political wheels are just bollocks.
I think it's
They're really bad.
It's proper worth unpacking. Like,
It is really, you're right.
like you're saying, like like not all representation is good representation, whatnot. That's people who know better. But like it goes, a little girl seeing Kemi Badenoch come and address her party, don't know the ins and outs of what Kemi is.
I read a caller say that actually.
They know it's a black woman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? They don't know who Kemi is.
You had a
So-
caller call in and say that.
How can we say it doesn't? It does help.
But then we're older, so we know better though.
Yeah, but we're affecting the youth of the future.
Yeah, but then
That's representation. Because see, I can be a leader of a party. I can be a politician. I can run the country.
but
The youth of the
and
future. That's who we're
that's right.
speaking to.
And you're right, but then when they grow up as well, they'll see that she's an ass.
Yeah, but then they can be better though.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
and I think that is
Exactly, that's fair,
That's
but
a
then-
great point, because you know
Yeah.
it is about the representation of it on the surface for a black woman to be leading the most powerful, you know, one of the two biggest political parties is a major step. I think it's a win, you know, in many ways. It's just a shame that the circumstances aren't more palatable.
Because I get what you mean, but I think that's how then when we start talking about representation, that's how we're going to start settling for crumbs when it comes to representation, because it's like, okay, we'll give you representation, but it won't be representation that's actually
Beneficial.
going to benefit you in the way, for the reasons why you want a representation in the first place. Do you get me? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Honestly, aren't we supposed to be teaching our youth that character is far more important than just the image?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. But
Why do we waste time talking about representation?
No, but wait though. No, but think about why it is that we want representation in the first place.
Yeah, don't like conflate it because we're not asking for bad representation.
No, but you're asking for people that look like you. More
No,
time,
but
you don't know what they look. You
You're
don't
taking
know
it as
their
black
character.
and white. It's more coloured than that.
I understand, but in a lot of situations, you don't know anything about the people in these particular industries. They just look like you, and we're happy about it. So I'm simply saying, in the same way people didn't benefit from Obama's policies in Chicago, in the other 50 plus states, right? They were happy that they had a black president. Be happy that you got a black Tory leader. Be happy that you got a black Labour leader.
No,
Because it's that simple.
No, but some of us don't want representation just to say that person is there. It's about the character and what that person that's there is doing it. When we talk about, that's why I said you have to think about why it is that we want what we wanted representation in the first place. The reason why we wanted representation in the first place is for change.
Yeah.
She does not represent that. So what use is it if she's there? You might as well have another white man there. You might as well have another white woman there because it's not going to bring about the change. So we can't get in a place where we are where we're happy that okay, at least we've ticked one box. It can't work like that because then for one anyway the other side would be okay, well, we just got to put a coloured person in there and the shop it can't work like that. That's more dangerous in my opinion. That's more dangerous.
Cool, because she is a puppet and all that, which is fine, but it still speaks to progress, which we don't want to admit. She couldn't have been a puppet before. And like they wouldn't have done, like it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have made sense.
But saying that you wouldn't have been a puppet before.
No, but I'm saying even so, there's something to be said about strides that's being made in the country regarding race and stuff, with the fact that a black woman can take up that position.
But how do you not see that the strides that's being made, what you're seeing as strides that's being made is still white supremacy?
Yeah, no, of course, two things can be true at the same time. Brent said it earlier.
But that's the thing. So why are we
if you're in the West, white supremacy is the governing power.
That's it.
And that's fair. And that's fair. However, though, I'm not going to celebrate white supremacy in a black skin. I'm within my rights not to celebrate that.
No, but everything's just about perspective and how you look at it, and you can make things look different. There could be a family out there that could use this and prop up their kids with it. Like the black woman's at the front of the party, you could use it.
But the majority of black people are not celebrating that.
There's more damage than good with what you're suggesting we should basically champion. And that's what I'm interested in.
But progress takes time.
100%.
Absolutely.
Progress takes time. And I think that's what you're saying is that, like, actually, we might not see the benefit of having her there now. But if you think about it, 50 years ago, the Tories were saying, if you want this country to become full of immigrants, keep the niggas out. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure how exactly how I feel about it, but I feel like there's definitely a conversation to be had. Like, it's not open and shut, I don't think.
I didn't celebrate when Lammy was appointed that position.
Why would you hate David Lammy?
You see what I'm saying? You see what it though?
Why didn't you? Was it representation?
No, it's still
what
good.
Came before?
No, it's still good. No, it's still good. No, it's still good.
Term.
You said celebrate. I don't have to celebrate. I hate the guy. You just said he's the second
But
most
you're
powerful
asking us to
man.
celebrate the fact that she's the first black woman.
I'm saying somebody who's... No, what? I didn't know you did
He
yesterday.
was asking us to celebrate it yesterday.
Okay, sorry, that's fine.
Do you understand? So you're coming in black.
He want to confess in the air. He wanted to share his birthday cake with Kemi Badenoch.
I'm telling you.
That's what he wanted to do yesterday.
Who wants to share their birthday?
All right, let's get back in the car though. Christy asked.
Yeah, there's a question from Christy. Maybe just put it on the Jumbotron. Hold up.
On the screen. You're so fancy.
Yeah.
She says, can you ask Andy, was it deliberate to not add the Nigerian parents' perspective, as I really wanted to hear about that as well?
Well, first, big shout out to Christy.
Big up Christy. She's the queen of BOE.
Thank you for watching.
Black over everything.
There is a part in the film where I do include some Nigerian parents' voices. The challenge is most have died.
Yeah, everyone's grown.
Yeah,
because they've been doing it for so long.
Yeah, this is something that happened over 70 years ago. So most of them weren't there, or they were too frail to communicate.
Oh wow!
And like, let's not get it twisted. You know, a lot of I wouldn't say all. I don't want to generalize, but you know, there are a lot of people who would have gone through that and probably don't want to confront it. Don't want to talk about it. You know what I mean? They're not really because they'll be like, "What are you talking about?"
You just pray to Jesus and say, but I did my best for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's your problem?
That's true. Literally, what's your problem? So ungrateful.
There's a lot of people that are living through stuff in real time, and if they knew exactly how it would have went down, maybe they wouldn't have done it.
No, but there was one of the kids here that, when I tell you, it broke my heart. When she said she called her mum and she was just like, please come back. I'll be really good. And that broke my heart in many pieces. And I think that some of them did let their parents know what was going on with them. But again, it's a thing where in their mind, they were balancing up but I need to work to provide and and you're aware that your child is being abused and whatnot. So it's tricky. Not all of them, obviously, but there were people who didn't know what their children were going through at the hands of the people that were caring for them, and they just didn't care.
You know, and whenever people are, you know, often people say, you know, when you're teaching your children, it's like, you know, stranger danger.
Yeah.
Actually, it ain't strangers that will hurt your children. It's people that you know.
It's people that you know.
Predominantly. You know what I mean? But obviously stranger danger too.
Absolutely.
To all the parents out there.
But, nah, man.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
But no, I would have loved to include more voices. And I tried. Actually, I did try quite hard. But it just kept finding... I just kept finding slight barriers and resistance. Yeah.
That's deep, man.
What would you want, like, your viewers of this particular film to take away from this? What's the main thing?
A couple of things. I think, you know, for me, love is the unbending force that you need to abide by. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of what it is, you just got to know who you need to protect, who you need to love, who you need to give it to, and kind of just operate in that space too. Anyway, and then I also wanted a sort of byproduct of healing. I wanted people to say, because I've been through therapy, and I'm a strong advocate for it. You know, so I say I wanted people to understand that there is a power in healing, talking therapy, and also being able to kind of just share your experiences. You know, so that's kind of like what I really wanted people to take away from it, is that alongside something that was, I suppose, entertaining and informative as well.
And I feel like that's why I really liked all the aspects that you touched on. Like, I think within the Black community, we all know that when it comes to like mental health, it's getting better now, but it's not something that is always, it's not something that was acknowledged, or it was like a white man thing, or it was just, mental health it wasn't something that we considered. And then when you have conversations about like around therapy and even like trauma, again, like we mentioned earlier, parents just think, I did the best for you. I did the best I could do. And then just shrug it off when it's like, yeah, but that's had an effect on this child. So I was really glad that also touched on that. Like, yeah, it was very important that part of it was touched on as well.
I mean, I've had numerous people tell me that they watched that film with their family. They watched the film with their parents.
Yeah.
Because they felt it would help unlock some things they may never have talked about before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that for me, I think that was kind of one of the powers and byproduct of the work.
Now, big up all the cast, man. Because it's so like,
absolutely.
To tell your story in that way, because even the other guy, the guy as well, who I couldn't imagine that. I tried to imagine, and honestly,
who was abandoned.
Like, you don't even know your name. You don't know your name. You don't know where you're from. You don't know anything. But he's so rich in culture.
Yeah, and so willing to kind of get back to it.
It was beautiful, and like I think, and that was obviously one of the positive stories that came from it, because he was abandoned, didn't have a clue. All he would have known about himself was his black. But then even his foster parents, they were so rich in culture. Whether here's we're gonna give you a Nigerian name. These are the artists that we listen to, and they fed him with so much culture that helped raise him. So that was one of the really positive stories I really liked. But I couldn't, for the life of me, just even for a second, imagine that.
Yeah.
Still
doesn't know his real family.
Just wow. But nah, big up all the cast for sharing their story. That was really really powerful.
Guys, if you haven't seen it already,
please.
Yes, White Nanny Black Child on Netflix. Yeah, man, we're not exaggerating. It's a powerful
very
film. You need to watch it, man.
Absolutely.
You need to.
What you working on currently?
So
my next question.
I am working on a film with the photographer Miss Anne Harriman, who's also the chair of the South Bank Centre. We're talking about progress and protest, and kind of looking. It's something to really mark the 5-year moment of George Floyd.
Nice.
It's going to be it is a powerful film. I'm running back to the edit now, actually, but we've just finished it. I'm also making a documentary called Mugabe and Me with a filmmaker called Roy Ajiman. And I have a children's series on Nickelodeon Milkshake as well called Ruin Harper's Wonderworld. So we're just about to deliver that too.
Lovely.
So try my best to make content that matters.
Absolutely.
And whilst I was watching the film, the dated footage, like, where'd you get that from?
Archive. So archive libraries, you have good archive producers, people who just know how to unlock certain things. Like there's vaults of material. People have vaults and vaults of material. In 20 years' time, this is going to be a nice bit of archive that someone's going to go and look away when you all become rich, famous, and they need to uncover your dark truths. They're going to come and pay for this material.
Because he mentioned rich, so.
So so just really solid archive producers.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, honestly, well done on that, and I'm looking forward to the other stuff you got coming out.
Thank you.
Really amazing work.
There's another one on the Netflix called The Fade, actually, which deals with barbershops.
Oh, sick.
Ooh.
So it's on The Fade. Same director.
Oh, nice.
You hear that, guys? I'm gonna go watch that. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that.
I'm looking forward to Mugabe and me. To be fair.
1st of December, BFI.
Mugabe is the guy that decided that refused to leave the throne, really. Refused to leave the presidency. What a joker. He's one of my favorite memes.
You need to look at it from the perspective of Andy, though.
Yeah, so actually that's true, because the filmmaker that I'm working with, he was the only person to access Mugabe's camp from the West.
Oh, wow, okay.
Over a 10-year period.
Oh, wow, okay.
So he has a lot of material that people haven't seen.
Okay.
And that shows a very different side of the
Nice.
truth.
He is going to humanize Mugabe.
Which not everybody wants.
We're going to have to get you back on here and have a topic of the day about it once it comes out.
100%.
That's interesting. I'm looking forward to that, because I've been cussing that man.
Well, you're all invited 1st of December at the BFI, South Bank.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
We'll be there. We'll definitely be there.
I went to the same school as Mugabe, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Makes
You're Zimbabwe?
sense.
No,
You're but not Nigerian.
yeah. But he went to Achimota.
Okay,
Yeah, in Ghana.
of course he
Yeah.
did.
Ghana.
Yes, because he was married to a Ghanaian woman.
Mm-hmm.
Sally.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes
Interesting.
sense. I finally got closure. So we asked our guests quick 4 questions. So one of them, the first one, tell us something people are usually surprised to learn about you.
What are people surprised about? I'm an open book.
Everyone always says that.
I'm an open book. What are people surprised about? It's a tricky one.
Why did you change your mind about Arteta?
Interesting. How do you know that?
I told you I do my research.
Okay.
I like.
I only talk about that behind closed doors.
You've got access to all of it.
Are you Arteta art?
No. Just give me some space. Give me some space. I don't know.
It took a while for you to warm to him, right?
Yes, it's taken a while for me to warm to him, and now I'm sort of at a place where we still stale with him. But yeah, I'm on the fence with Arteta. I think he's doing good things. I don't think he could take us to the promised land. But I leave that there.
Okay.
What are people surprised to hear about me? That I was born in Lagos.
Okay.
Often that surprises people.
How long did you stay there for?
8 years.
Nice.
So yeah, all my formative years were in Lagos.
It's lovely.
Sick. Do you go back every now and again?
Every year.
Oh,
Wonderful.
amazing.
Every year, yeah.
Amazing.
Wonderful. Someone actually asked, before I get to my next question, if the other films you're doing are going to be on Netflix.
Hopefully. Bit of an exclusive. I've just signed a deal, a development deal with Netflix to do more stuff for them.
Amazing.
So,
Talk to me nicely.
So fingers crossed that leads to more work, because it's at this stage just early. But as I said at the beginning, I'm not exclusive to anyone, just to myself.
Why did you smile
my
when
family.
You said that? Huh? Why did you smile when you said that?
Well,
And you looked at Imagine the Marks.
I was thinking of money.
All right.
Money man. This is your resident money man.
No, man. What?
Your resident money man.
Rubbing off of me.
But yeah, no, I kind of
bad company.
one of the things, and I keep saying it, but I think I have to just sort of because I'm inspired here, just genuinely. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, because I've been in the industry for this is my 21st year now. So it's I've seen a lot, and I've seen cycles of resistance and people just closing the doors at every stage. But I think that when I look at kind of these kind of movements, I think this is where it's at. It's like how does this become the next Oprah channel. You know what I
You
mean?
haven't even heard about the new Black yet. Oof, your mind's
Yo,
about to be
I can
blown.
feel it. I can 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 feel it. But yeah, no. Yeah, that's important.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, man.
And then the second question from us: what's your biggest life lesson?
Biggest life lesson. Okay. There's a few, but I think humility is, your talent. Someone said this to me, I'll never forget it. So your talent will take you to the sky. Your humility will take you further. It will keep you there. You know what I mean? You can be talented, but if you're an arse, piss off. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not enough to just have talent and be good. You've got to just stay cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just stay cool.
A great character.
Yeah, it's important.
It's important.
And I think that's something that's important to me.
Yeah.
Dope.
And then so we basically get our guests to leave a question for the next person, and then you will answer what the last person said. So the last guest said, in the next month...
You'll have some tricky ones.
I know, right? Keeping your toes.
Yeah.
In the next month, what are you committed to do to bring another person back to their roots? This is perfect for you. What are you committed to do to bring another person
back to their roots? It's a tricky one, that, because it assumes that the person you're asking is already on that journey. I suppose for me, it's always genuinely everything I do is rooted in kind of cultural understanding. It's trying to make people get closer to their identities, get closer to who they are. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like everything that I put my name to is about saying, how do we reframe who we think we are? So that's my commitment, is kind of a lifelong commitment, really. Yeah. Fortunately, that I'm able to say that everything I put my hand to, I try and make people question themselves in a positive way.
Absolutely.
In a positive way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Was someone on Discord?
Yes.
Who is it?
Good
Hi,
morning,
guys.
Christy.
Morning, Christy.
Morning. Funny enough that Andy just literally said what he just said there about changing people's perspectives.
Yeah.
I guess what to a moment of transparency. Well, farming never happened to me. However, I've obviously heard about the documentary and I've seen it, but I kind of didn't want to watch it because I kind of felt like it would trigger me, and I don't know why, because I've never been through farming. That wasn't my lived experience, but I just kind of feel like it would just bring up emotion. I guess because I'm Nigerian and I'm Yoruba. Now, obviously, I know that has existed.
Yeah.
And I've heard of it before. I've obviously heard of it, but it's been very like distant stories or not really knowing anything about it, to be fair. So I was very unwilling to watch it. It was until big up the TNB, big up TDA, said they were bringing you on. And I said, okay. And I said, okay, I'm going to force myself to watch it. So I actually watched it last night, very late. So I guess that's why the emotions are very still raw for me.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say you did an excellent job because, as Esther said so kindly, when I asked my first question, my mantra is black over everything, and it just really challenged in terms of how you view identity, and I'm quite a very no nonsense black and white. I'm kind of either one side or the other. You would not get me to be indecisive about most things. And especially my views on race. Some in the chat would probably say I'm a bit extreme. Some people would say I'm racist. Some people would say a lot of things, but hey ho. But obviously because I'm very passionate about just us as black people and generally, and just our lived experience, especially us in the diaspora and in the West. So obviously again, this kind of challenged me, and that question where it was said the whole love and culture. And to be honest, I'm still undecided because I get the experience that she had and how love was a driving force. And it's so funny because if I probably heard that out without watching this documentary, I would think, like, especially when she said, I think she said when she didn't have that experience, when they was talking about hair and about the workplace. Yeah, like when she said, I didn't have that. And to be honest, if I was to hear that outside and from a black woman, I kind of would get my back up.
Yep.
Obviously, not knowing that probably they had that experience.
Yes.
So it definitely left me with complicated feelings because, like I said, I'm very black and white with things. It's kind of, for me, it's all or nothing. Like I love being black. I love being Nigerian. I love being Yoruba. I don't know where your mum, because you said you was in Lagos, but I don't know what tribe specifically. But
Igbo.
Igbo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it kind of brought up a lot of complicated feelings. I'm not gonna lie, it's still very like, That's why I also wanted to know about that's why I asked a question about the parents, because I can't lie, as much as it didn't happen to me, just watching it, I felt so angered for them, and I felt so angered on behalf of them, especially with the parents. So that's why I really wanted to know, like, I would really love to have known the mindset back then. Obviously, I know you managed to put like the voices of some, and she said that she was in, like, if she could go back, she would not have done that. And it just, because to me, I've got a son, and I could never just think to hand my child over. And no offense to you, again, it may sound racist, but I can never try and hand over my child to any oppressor. No, I'm sorry. And for them, it's just because I just see the pain in which some people have been severed from that said identity and culture, and how much that can dictate their lives going forward.
Yeah.
And how much it can create such a conflict in their life going forward, because they can even pass that on. Because I think one of them have said, like, it's even with her children, what is created with her children.
Yeah.
And I just think that's such a deep thing, and there's such massive ramifications.
Yeah.
So again, I'm just like, the mindset of which you would do that with your kids, and I get obviously something that was not. That's what I'm saying. I find it hard to, like. I don't know. I can't lie. It angered me. It really did, especially because even at the end, when one of them said, "I'm even going to change my name," as much as a pretty name, but the pain associated to that, and she even said, "Is a day by day step to forgive my mother."
Yeah.
You're never
And that's
gonna
a
get your head
deep
around it,
thing.
though, are you? Really and truly.
No, yeah, I know. I guess, and obviously, because I guess I'm not obviously that time. I wasn't around that time, so I guess it's maybe unfair to hold them kind of feelings.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I do.
Sorry to cut you, Christy. You know, it's like, if we, even through history, like, we've seen it, like, we've got to live through stuff. Like, people say, like, when you know better, you do better. There is loads of things that people done back in the day that they wouldn't do now.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't do now, because we know, innit? You get what I'm trying to say? And then people in that experience coming over, like, the world was a totally different place then. It was much bigger than it is now.
Absolutely.
Coming over to a new place and all this kind of stuff, you can't put yourself in their frame of mind to say what you do. Like, you wouldn't do it. Of course, nobody would right now, but we don't have to.
They probably, if they would ever ask, without them coming to this country, if they would ever give up their child, they would have said no. Some of them would have said no, to then kind of find yourself. But Chris actually reminded me of something. It made me realize as well how it is that we need to be mindful, because we've had a conversation today, actually, how we question people's blackness and how we question people's culture. And, like, even as someone who is black, so say, for example, Nigerian, if someone can't speak the language, we judge them. Someone can't cook this, we judge them. Like, so just how it is that we judge people's and culture, but you actually don't know what people's backgrounds are. You don't know, like the guy, for example, who doesn't even know who his family is, but say you met him and he said, "Oh, I'm Nigerian, I'm Igbo," and you're saying, "Oh, you don't speak the language," though. Like, you just pass judgment without knowing the history. So it made me very mindful of that, how we always be past judgment and we don't know people's individual life stories.
Yeah. And I hear Christy, you know, I think in this current climate, it's tricky to align with certain people given how much shit you may have faced, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I always think, you know, everybody does have a story, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like the guy that you were talking about who was abandoned in the High Commission, you know, his brother, his family, the people that took him in are still so close to him to this day, and they are, like, you know, really great people. Do you know what I mean? But you may take a certain view on them.
If you met him and it's like, my family's
if you
white.
met him, you might, and if you met his white family, you may think, for whatever reason, these Oyimbos don't feel me or what have you. You might have a certain thing about them, but they might feel closer to you because they know him.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And then you're reading it differently. So it's tricky, man. I think we live in strange times.
We do, man.
We live in strange times. It's why it's important
honestly.
be kind.
Yeah,
rewind.
You can't be triggered when you don't have to know what their life stories are.
Yeah, and that's not saying, you know what I mean, go around to the house for dinner, just
because.
just be chill.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I just my parting words. But Andy, trust me, you did a fascinating job for me to actually have these kind of conflicting feelings because I'm very stern and staunch on my
That's
views.
why you want to BAFTA. If
So
you can
for
make Christy less racist, boy,
listen,
this is
give him all the BAFTAs, all of them.
This is a show.
No,
Even though he doesn't have a submission, just give it to him anyway. Like they were doing Anton Deck.
Amen.
Make Andy the white Anton Deck. And listen.
No, it really did, and I look forward to your future works definitely, and just the fact that you're pushing certain of these stories, like very, very kudos to you. And even with not all money is good money, but obviously I hope it's very profitable for you because we need more stories like this.
Amen to that.
So,
that's a big one.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you very
Christy.
much. Yeah.
babe.
Yeah.
An absolute babe. All right, so lastly, just last task for today, okay?
Tasks.
Last task. Can you please leave a question for the next guest?
If you could change the world tomorrow, what would be the first thing you do?
Ooh. I'm such a foodie. I'm thinking about food, child.
Is that all right?
That's it. Yeah, if you could change the world, what would be the first thing you do?
Yeah, if you
that's
could
a good
change the
one.
world tomorrow, what would be the first thing you do?
That's a good one. All right, people. Andy, thank you so much for coming on. Really good
It's been a
vibes.
blessing. It's been great meeting you guys. Literally, I'm leaving this place thinking, this is it's just so inspiring.
Lovely.
Genuinely,
That's how we felt
it's
with
really,
yourself,
really
so
inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
Make
But
more
guys,
money.
they make money.
The plan, yeah, man.
Yeah.
But guys, watch White Nanny Black Child on Netflix. And of course, as Andy releases stuff, we'll be letting you guys know. Will you be coming back?
Hey, you got me now.
Love
Yes.
it.
All right, then.
Correct answer. 2 points for that.
Watch the fade as well.
Yes, watch the fade.
What's the guy that the farming film?
Yeah, Adewale.
Adewale.
Yeah.
That's it. I actually started the project with him.
Oh,
Okay, that's what I
So,
said. Did you end up
yeah.
doing research on him during?
Yeah, we were. I mean, you'll need me for another podcast on that.
All right, cool.
There's a whole story there, but yeah, me and Adewale actually, we started making a film together.
I like to
as
see that.
well,
That was
off the back
fascinating.
of his farming, or we were proposing to kind of do something together.
Because I watched the whole farming film, and when they got to the end, and it was, I said, "Oh my!" I said, "Wait, I know, man, I know him. What are you talking about? I swear to God, this could happen to anybody."
Yep.
I said, "Bro,
Say the guy, he can get you too.
listen, to be
Yeah.
taken."
It's mad.
Yeah.
It's mad.
Don't make me complete the sentence.
Yeah, no. So I saw that. It was a decent film. Really decent film.
Nice.
His personal true story, like beyond that film, is also really powerful.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like what you say when you see stuff you want to get into more rabbit holes. I want to hear. I want to know
Yeah.
more about that.
Well, no, the rabbit holes. Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing what he's up there.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why in the Matrix they have the right rabbit. Chase the rabbit.
Ah, it makes sense.
It makes sense. Huh? Yeah.
See?
Decoding.
Listen, think about it,
Take
you
it
know?
easy.
Yes. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you so much.
you.
Lovely to meet you.
Thank you. Really lovely.